Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So for this video, I'm doing something a little different. Usually I'm talking about politics and all that kind of stuff and real serious issues. But for this video right here, I want to talk about warning signs to look out for when dating. I've been doing a lot of dating lately, and I've learned a lot of lessons just over the years, and more recently I've learned a couple of lessons as well, and I just want to share some of those lessons with you all and just share some warning signs for people to look out for. So as you get to know someone, through discussions and over the phone, in person and stuff like that, things come out in those discussions. And these are some warning signs that people should look out for when they're dating, things that are basically signs to let you know what's up ahead. Just like how you're on a road and you may see a sign that says, basically slow down, you're hitting a rough angle, so you need to go at 45 or whatever for that particular sharp angle while you're on the highway. Or you may see a sign that says road work ahead. And people heed those signs, because if you don't heed those signs, then something bad could happen. And that's basically the purpose of this video, to just give people warning signs to look out for. And the first warning sign is this. When somebody tells you that they've been in all these conflicts with people, that should be a major warning sign. Like if they tell you that they have this conflict with this coworker and that coworker, and then they also tell you that they have these conflicts with their loved ones, like their family members, whether we're talking about their parents or their siblings or whatever, they have conflict. Conflict surrounds them. If they're telling you about all these conflicts, you have to realize that all those conflicts have one thing in common, and that's that particular individual. So that should be a warning sign that this is a person who is prone to conflict. This is a person that you really shouldn't be wasting your time with, because more likely than not, that person is going to eventually have some kind of conflict with you. This person tells you that they stopped talking to this person, they stopped talking to that person, or that's the person stopped talking to them because of some conflict. That tells you that this person is a person that's prone to conflict. And you should realize that that person will eventually be in conflict with you. But sometimes people are so short-sighted, you're saying, well, I'm enjoying myself with this woman. She seems to be cool. She's enjoyable. I enjoy her conversation and this and that. She had conflicts with those people. That has nothing to do with me. But at the end of the day, it will eventually have everything to do with you. So that's something to look out for. Another thing is narcissistic personality disorder. And often this is something that's hard for people to realize that that's what it is. For instance, someone may send you their photographs, and you may be like, this is, great. This person is showing, sending me these beautiful pictures and stuff like that. And I like that. You like the fact that this woman is, showing you attention, or, sending you pictures, or even sending you a lot of text messages or whatever, positive text messages. But sometimes this is not about them really trying to show their love and affection for you. It's more so about their desire to be praised, their desire to have attention, their desire to have you, gassing them up constantly and telling them how wonderful they are and how beautiful they are and stuff like that. So it has nothing to do with you as an individual. It's about feeding their particular ego. So that's something that people need to look out for. These people that are hungry for attention, hungry for praise, because at the end of the day, these people like that, they're really self-centered. They're not concerned about your feelings or your emotions. All they are concerned about is getting praise from you and praise from others. So it has nothing to do with you. These types of narcissistic people will say things solely to get attention. They will say things solely to get praise. So they may tell you that they love you or whatever, but they don't really mean it. They just want attention. They may send you these pictures and you may be flattered, like, oh, thinking how this person cares about you and X, Y, and Z, when it's really not about that, when it's really all about them getting praise from you. Another warning sign to look out for is women that want to use you as a meal ticket, literally and figuratively. I mean, there's some women that just want a free meal. They want an opportunity to eat at some nice restaurant or whatever. So they couldn't care less who's the company. They just want a free meal. They want drinks on somebody else and this and that. So you got to be weary of that. You got to be aware of that. Sometimes these people, you'll take them out and, they're not engaging or whatever. They're not, they don't have that kind of connection with you or whatever. They're just in it for a free meal and they use you for a free meal. So that's something to look out for. Also, again, another thing to look out for is someone that has revealing photographs, like if you're, dating them online or if they send you revealing photographs. This goes back to this whole point about narcissistic personality disorder, in a sense. And also it says a lot about that woman's character. If a woman is always scantily clad or has these revealing type of outfits on, that tells you about her character. It tells you that this is not a woman of class. This is not a woman of substance. This is a woman who views her body as her primary asset. That's what it tells you. And often it tells you that this is a loose woman that doesn't guard her chastity or, respect her body. Someone who has no problem sharing her body with multiple people and having multiple partners and all that kind of stuff. And, there are exceptions to the rules, but the bottom line is it's not a good sign, especially if you're looking for somebody that's loyal, somebody that's down for you, instead of someone who's loyal to everybody, who wants to share herself with everybody. So that's something to look out for. And again, it goes back to this narcissistic desire for attention. Another thing to look out for are women that have a lot of male friends. The average heterosexual man is not going to be buddies with a woman just for the sake of being a buddy with her, constantly talking to her on the phone or even hanging out with her. Most men, who are heterosexual, even if they're in a relationship or married, they're not going to be chatting it up with a woman or hanging out with a woman on a regular basis if they are not attracted to a woman, if they don't have any desires for a woman. And half of these women that talk about these male friends, half of these friends are exes. So you want to be leery of a woman like that, because a woman like that with all these male friends that she's constantly talking to, I mean, it's one thing to have a friend from afar, like somebody that you were cool with and you don't regularly hang out with them and talk with them like that. But no regular heterosexual man is going to be chatting it up, having long conversations with somebody over the phone if they're not attracted to them. There's no attraction. And half of these situations involve women and their exes. They put them in that, they label them as friends, but they still are more than that. A lot of times, they're quote unquote friends with benefits. And you have these people that will introduce somebody as a friend that they're still, having, relationships with, still having some kind of sexual relationship with. So you got to be skeptical of these women that have a lot of quote unquote friends, because these types of women are more likely than not, they're not trustworthy type of women that you should be spending your time with if you're looking for a real relationship. Now, if you're on some smash and dash type thing, then it is what it is. But if you're trying to find a solid and serious relationship or wife, that's not the kind of person that you want to invest your time and your energy into. This is the, well, I won't go any further. Another thing to look out for is women who have been in abusive relationships. Like, it's one thing, like, if they've had one abusive relationship, like, because everybody can make a mistake. Like, they may have misjudged somebody may have presented themselves in a false kind of way, so that they present themselves as a loving and caring person, but they end up being very abusive. Um, so that's one thing. But if someone has had more than one abusive relationship, then that tells you something about that individual. And it tells you a couple of things. First of all, it tells you that they don't know what a functional relationship looks like. They don't know what real love looks like. And I don't think that these types of people really have the capacity to really and truly love somebody in a functional kind of way. So when they come across somebody that is, somebody that is a positive man, a man that's loving and caring, a lot of times women who are only used to abusive situations, they don't know how to deal with a functional relationship. They don't know how to appreciate a man that's loving and caring and stuff like that, unfortunately, because that's not what they know. That's not their idea of relationships. Their idea of love is conflict. Their idea of love is drama and all that kind of stuff. And so they're not going to appreciate, um, unfortunately, in a lot of situations, they're not going to appreciate a man that's treating them right and all that kind of stuff, because they don't even know what that looks like, and they're probably skeptical of that because it's unfamiliar to them. So that's something to look out for, you know. And it tells you, like, about their selection process, man. It tells you about their own decision making. And again, I'm talking about a situation where it's more than one abusive relationship. So that's something that somebody should look out for when you're dating these women out here. Another thing is these bisexual women. I mean, unfortunately, that's very common. I mean, it's common more than it should be in the black community, where you have these women who go both ways and this and that. I mean, if you're looking for a woman of class and substance, the last thing you need to have is a woman that has bisexual tendencies, because that kind of woman is not going to be truly loyal to you as a man. Um, and you need to have a woman that is fully invested, a woman that is truly heterosexual, that's her only preference, because otherwise, who knows? And again, if you're looking for somebody of quality and substance, the last thing you need to do is be in a relationship with somebody that's going both ways. If you're about a serious relationship. Another thing to look out for is ambiguity in the status of the relationship. When you're in a relationship, what you want to do is make sure that both parties are clear on the nature of the relationship. You need to know whether this person is committed to you or not. You don't want to have a situation where it's up in the air, where it's like something that's suggested instead of, something that's clearly spelled out. Like, for instance, you may think, well, hey, this person is cool. We should have a committed relationship. I'm only dating this person. I'm focusing solely on this person. And you may think that what you have is a committed type of relationship, just based on the interaction that you have with this person, based on the amount of time that you spend with this person, based on your conversations with this person. But if you haven't spelled out the nature of the relationship, and if they haven't asked to, have the relationship clearly defined, then basically you're setting yourself up for heartbreak, because you don't know if this woman is committed to you and vice versa. So you need to make sure that you define the relationship. And if a woman is reluctant to define the relationship, then that may tell you that she's involved in other relationships at the same time. Like if she wants to, not call you, a boyfriend, for instance, even though you're spending all your time with her and, she's your sole focus and all that kind of stuff, that should be a warning sign. That should warn you that this person, first of all, doesn't really love you like that. Despite whatever they say in their text messages or in person or whatever, that person doesn't really love you like that. Because if they did, they would want to be in an exclusive relationship, and they would have no problem saying that that's what you all have, or asking you to state your intentions, wanting to know where your head is at. So if they're ambiguous about that and they just refer to you as a friend, you need to take them at their word. That's how they see you. And, if they have that kind of perspective, more likely than not, again, they're probably with other people. And another thing is, you got to really take, words with a grain of salt. That's something that I warn people about. Like, you got to see it as a warning sign. If you've only been dating somebody for a short period of time, and then all of a sudden they say they love you and this and that, you got to view that with skepticism, because a lot of times that's just a tactic to manipulate you, to make you think that they have these true, genuine feelings for you when they may not, in fact, have those feelings for you. And in fact, it may not be something that's deliberate. Maybe they just don't know what real love is. Maybe they don't have a clue about what real love is. So because they're infatuated or because they're feeling good at that particular time, they may say they love you. And then the next thing you know, out of the blue, they may end the relationship after telling you how much they love you and this and that. That's why you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to take these words with a grain of salt. You got to look to actions. The actions prove the love. Love should be viewed as a verb instead of a word. So take their words as a grain of salt, man. Look to the actions and don't be blinded by, these words, I love you and this and that. Because if you're not careful, you will be blindsided. You'll be blindsided, for instance, if you get that Dear John letter or whatever out of the blue via text message. So that's one thing to look out for. Another thing to look out for is women that want to talk about marriage and children when you don't even really know them like that. You've only been dating them for a couple of months, and then they're talking about marriage or having some kids and stuff like that. That's a warning sign. That tells you that perhaps this person has different intentions. Perhaps this person may be after your money or something like that. Unfortunately, you got to be careful, because like some women, they will tell you about how, friends of theirs, for instance, trick some guy into getting them pregnant and stuff like that. When a woman tells you something like that, that should be a warning sign. When they tell you about some friend who's done something like that, your antenna should go up at that point. You really should. And if they even talk about like having, like some of these women will actually talk about wanting to have kids before they even like married to somebody, after knowing somebody for just a couple of months or a few months. That should be a huge red flag. And it should be a sign that perhaps you'll be set up. Perhaps you'll get caught out there and get hooked up on some child support or something like that. Some women are manipulative like that. Some women are out there for your money, period. And you just got to be on notice on that. Anytime somebody's talking about having some kids and you barely even know them like that, that's your sign to get out of there. Just like that movie, Get Out. So this next subject deals with like bossy and controlling personality traits. That's something you really need to be aware of. Like, if you see that the person is controlling just on a little level, like controlling about different things that you all decide to do, or they have bossy type of traits where they want to tell you what to do and you just started to date them and stuff like that, that should be a huge red flag, because that's going to be somebody that's going to be like a bossing, domineering type of person. And if you're like most average men, you don't want to be in a relationship with some woman that's going to be trying to tell you what to do, that's going to be trying to dictate things. um, you don't want to be in that kind of situation. And that's all I'll say about that, man. I mean, I think that a relationship should be about a partnership. It should be about mutual consultation and respect and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, I think that the man is the leader of the relationship. Not that the man should dominate and be some kind of dictator or anything like that. But at the end of the day, he should be the leader in a relationship. And the last thing you need is a relationship with somebody that wants to be controlling. So those are just a couple of warning signs to look out for while you're on this road of dating life. So tell me what y'all think. Tell me what I missed. Tell me what I got wrong. With that, I'll say please rate, comment, and subscribe. And before I go, don't shoot the messenger. Anyway, peace and blessings.